Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Citizen and today I'm going to show you guys what I colored in March 2019. And we're going to start off with Lost Ocean. Now I have finished this book and I'm really proud of it. And I do have a video where I do show a full flip through of all the colored pages that I had in this book. So if you're interested in to see all that I colored in this book, you can check it out. But yeah, I did finish the last picture in this book in Lost Ocean, and yeah, it's really symbolic for me to actually finish this book because I actually bought this book. Yeah, I bought this book about 2 years ago, and I was doing a math test and I thought I totally failed it, and it turns out I didn't, but in my mind I was like, oh crap, I failed a very important math test. And so I went out and I bought Lost Ocean just to cheer me up. And now, 2 years later, I'm done with all math that I need for my university studies. So I'm really happy with that. Actually, it's quite symbolic because I finished this one just about the time I finished all my math courses. So I'm really proud of myself, not only because I finished a coloring book, but I also finished some of my studies with it. So yeah, so all that, you know, frustration and angry I have with math, I sort of lashed on to this coloring book. So yeah, it is pretty symbolic for me, at least, and I'm really happy about it. So I colored this one with Karlzon's Mondelez watercolor pencils, as I have done in most of these pictures in this book. Like, there's a lot of pictures done with my Mondelez, Karlzon Mondelez watercolor paper. Watercolor pencils. Oh gosh, I can't speak today. So yeah, and I usually do the technique where I put down the watercolor pencils, I activate it with water, and then I use fine liners. I use that technique a lot to put in some details that are super tiny and where I feel like I will not be able to go in there with water and watercolor pencils and all that. And for the details, I don't know if you guys can see it, but for some of the details, I actually use some Paul Rubens watercolor, glitter watercolor, and yeah, so I'm really proud of actually being finished with this coloring book, and it gave me an excuse to actually buy another one of Johanna's books. So yeah, so when I'm finished with the new Johanna Basford book, I'm going to buy the next one. So yeah, so that's a fun little accomplishment that I did, and I'm really proud. And there have been some awesome people out there that's actually been supporting me and been commenting on this achievement, and I'm really happy about it, and I am really thankful for those people who actually commented on this. So thank you all, and now let's go on to the next finished picture. So the next book that I have a completed picture in. It's Fantasia by Nicholas F. Chandra Wainata, and it's actually the first picture in here. It's this lady with the peacock, and I did this when I ordered my Paul Rubens watercolor glitter watercolors. I accidentally got the regular ones, so I contacted the people, the seller who sold that product, and told them about my situation, because it's not fun for me in Sweden to purchase things from Amazon, because not only do I have to pay shipping, I also have to pay a custom fee. And you can imagine that's not ideal, to send an item back that you had already paid customs for, and that is not covered by Amazon. So I told them that, and they told that they were going to give me a refund, and I can keep the wrong item. So I repurchased the Paul Rubens watercolor glitter pen, watercolor glitters. Oh, I can't speak today. But anyway, long story short, during that time while I was waiting for the glitter watercolors, I was messing around with the regular ones, and I used those as a base for this picture, and on top of that I also used polychromos. And of course, when the watercolor glitter came, I had to try it out. So I don't know how shiny that is, but to me it's really shiny. So yeah, so this is a combination of Paul Rubens regular watercolor and Paul Rubens regular watercolor, glitter watercolor, and polychromos. And there's a reason why you should not use watercolor in this book, even though the paper is super thick, because it's sort of bled through a lot. Oh yeah, and one other thing, I used a alcohol marker, blender marker, to smooth out the polychromos. Now that did not bleed through onto the other side, but the watercolors did on this paper. So if you're using watercolors in this book, beware of that. So next up, I did a picture here in Fantomorphia by Kirby Rousans. And it was this one. I was in so much pain while I was doing this, and my physical therapist said that I was going to experience some pain after my hip was healed in my back, and she did not tell me how much it was going to hurt after my hip was healed. It hurt so terribly a lot, because I could not sit down anywhere. And I'm a student and I study, so, you know, I usually sit down while I study. So it was kind of hard for me to study or color or pretty much do anything at my computer. So I sat in my sofa that was in the only place I could sit during this week. I had my back pain, and yeah, and I only did this with markers because I couldn't not really focus on anything but just flat out color. and I want to do a interesting color scheme. So I used pro markers, and I also did a little bit of gel pen, but nothing more. So yeah. Next up we have Steampunk Darlings by Hannah Lynn. And I did this with a marker base on the wall and on the... I think I did it on the desk too. Yeah. Then I used polychromos on top of that. I used some luminance pencils in her hair. I used some white gel pen, and oh yeah, and I used some what do you call it? Paul Rubens glitter watercolors on some of the detail. And I also did on the parchments in the back and on the front, and also on the globe I used tea. And I have a tutorial on this on my channel so you guys can see how I actually did it. Not this specifically, but I did show how I did this parchment in the back. So if you want to know how I did that, it's really simple, it's really easy, it's really addictive. You can go on and check out my YouTube video about it. Next up we got Tattoo Darlings by Hannah Lynn. This one was actually a watercolor with Happy Colorist Jen on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out her channel, I have a link in the description below. And she shows the... Yeah, I think she shows the book and I shows the picture. So on this one I used a marker base, I used polychromos, I used luminance pencils. Did I use? Yeah, I did use polychromos on this. I'm a little bit unsure, but I think I did. I used some white gel pen, and I also used some Paul Rubens glitter watercolor on some of the details. I don't know how much you can see of that glitter, but it's there. So this was really fun. My idea with this was that I wanted her eyes to look like the sun. And actually this color scheme sort of reminds me a bit of my favorite alcoholic drink, which is San Francisco, which has this gradient effect of orange to pink, which is quite cool. And yeah, and I saw Jay's version of her coloring of this, and I thought it was so pretty. So yeah, so hopefully she will will show you guys too. But you know, I did think her picture was really pretty, and check her out. She's quite good. Next up I got inspired by the modernist colorist. Now this is a freebie. I don't have any Quirkles books, although I did purchase 2 of them. I did buy the Masterpiece one and the Cast one. Sorry about that. And I was really inspired by no, I wasn't inspired. I was interested in doing some Quirkles because he showed the masterpiece book on his channel. And I thought to myself, hey, that is actually pretty cool, I should try it out. So I went down to the website and there was a freebie, so I thought like, I should be downloading this and see if I like it or not. And I did like it. The only concern I had with this picture was that it was really small detail. And my markers bled like crazy. Now there's two reasons for that. First of all, I had to downsize this picture like 4 times its actual size. So of course some of these teeny weeny tiny nooks and crannies is going to be tiny if there are 4 times smaller than they're supposed to. And also this is just regular copy paper, so of course the markers is going to bleed through like crazy and bleed over to the other side of the line. So yeah, so the two things I didn't like about these pictures were was something that probably will not be if I buy the books. But I had really so much fun with this. I absolutely loved to see the actual progress of just filling in one color at a time and just see the progress. I thought that was so stress relieving. So I'm glad that I picked up those 2 books. I actually think this one looks a bit nicer on the other side somehow. But yeah, so when I'm stressed out and I just need to color something for the sake of coloring, I will be going to use those books. So thank you, Modernist Colorist, for introducing me to Quirkles. Next up we have Sommarnatt by Hannah Karlzon. And don't ask me about the color scheme. I was having a really high fever during this time while I was coloring this, so don't ask me about the color scheme. What I do know that I used polychromos. It looks like I did use some white gel pen, and I obviously used some of my new Paul Rubens watercolor glitter. So yeah, that's that. Don't ask about the color scheme. My fever was so high and I still wanted to color, so I have no idea what was going on. The funny thing was that I was doing the flowers first in these different colors during the peak of my fever. And when the day after that, when my fever had settled a little bit, I was like, maybe I should do the birds in the same color. But because my fever was so high, I did not remember what kind of colors I was using. So it was like really tricky for me to just figure out like, how should I color the birds? So yeah, and I also worked on a little bit on this one, just to try out my luminance pencils, and yeah, still a work in progress. I don't know when I will come back to this, only time will tell. Last but not least, we all have heard the passing of Leslie, also known as Orion's Girl 93, and there was this color along for her, and I did this one for her. I don't have any Klara Markova books at all, but Carly Girl told me that she liked Hannah Karlzon, so that is why I did this picture from Smyckeskrinet by Hannah Karlzon. And she also told me that Leslie liked the color purple, so that is why she's dressed in purple. And I also did this background in black, and all these dots around it, so my idea is sort of like she's floating in space, if that makes sense. But yeah, I used polychromos. I used my luminescence to do her skin color. I used my my Paul Rubens glitter, watercolor glitter, and some white gel pen to do the dots, to do some outlining and other embellishments. And yeah, so that is what I did. I also liked how I did the effect on her clothes. I really like how this sleeve turned out. It sort of looks like she has this satin dress or top, and I really like that effect. So yeah, so that's it, what I've been coloring in March 2019. I hope you guys liked what I have colored, and I hope you guys leave a like if you like this, and I'll see you next time. Bye!